Earlier today, Republican Congressman Mike Gallagher announced that he will resign from Congress on April 19th, 2024, leaving the Republican Party with a mere one-seat majority. Folks, this is a really bad day for MAGA Republicans, and we need to rejoice in it. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bell before you go. I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, friends, this is just awesome. It's funny, it's great, it's delightful. We should all bask in the misery and stupidity and incompetence of the Republican Party, particularly the House Republican Conference. I mentioned in a previous video that the whole day so far has just been terrible for MAGA. And this is certainly not going to make things any better. I'm going to play this brief press announcement from CNBC, and then we're going to unpack all of it together.
The road is frankly going to get more difficult for Speaker Johnson. We're hearing today that Congressman Mike Gallagher has come out and announced that he will be leaving Congress on April 19th, shrinking the Republicans' majority even further.
I know I just said it, but I wanted to hear it from a reporter, a professional reporter. Just the news is so sweet. So Mike Gallagher released an official statement. He says, after conversations with my family, I've made the decision to resign my position as a member of the House of Representatives for Wisconsin's 8th Congressional District, effective April 19th, 2024. That date is very important, and we'll get to why in just a second. I've worked closely with House Republican leadership on this timeline and look forward to seeing Speaker Johnson appoint a new chair to carry out the important mission of the Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party. My office will continue to operate and provide constituent services to the 8th District for the remainder of the term. 4 terms serving Northeast Wisconsin in Congress has been the honor of my lifetime and strengthened my conviction that America is the greatest country in the history of the world. I will forever be proud of the work I did on the Armed Services and Intelligence Committee, chairing the Cyberspace Solarium Commission, and chairing the Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party. It's been truly an honor to serve in the House of Representatives. Mike Gallagher. Again, we're going to come back to why that specific date of April 19th, 2024 is so important. And MAGA Republicans and MAGA Republican commentators are not happy that he chose that date. But I also want to play this quick clip here from another outgoing, and by that I mean resigning, Republican Congressman Ken Buck, I believe, who left office today, as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken. This is what he had to say about Mike Gallagher's departure, as well as the state of the Republican Party, period.
I have to ask you, Congressman, and I'm sure tonight is a night that you're reflecting on this. What is going to happen to your party with more and more people like you who are willing to say that important substantive things matter are leaving Congress?
Yeah, I don't think it's good. Obviously, the number of people that's leaving has always been scrutinized. I think now you have to look at the quality of people who are leaving, who are frustrated, who can't feel like they're getting things done, and that's an important number also. My friend Mike Gallagher from Wisconsin, what a young, bright, hardworking person who reaches across the aisle, gets great work done, leaving Congress. Those are the people I think that we need to keep in Congress. We need to deal with the important issues, as you've mentioned, the spending, the situation in Ukraine, the border. We need to reach across the aisle. We need to find compromise. We need to move forward.
You need to be productive. You need to be bipartisan. You need to reach compromise, especially with such a razor-thin majority. And again, the absence of both Buck and Gallagher reduced that majority to a mere 1 seat. Oh, it's glorious. So that's Ken Buck, a veteran Republican congressman. That's his diagnosis of the Republican Party. And he thinks it's a real loss, not just to the House Republican Conference, but to the party writ large, that Gallagher will no longer be in office. So why April 19th? What does it mean? Gallagher's decision to leave, this is from NBC News. Gallagher's decision to leave April 19th also means that there will not be a special election to fill his seat. Under Wisconsin state law, vacancies after the second Tuesday in April are filled in the general election, so Gallagher's replacement will be decided in November, and his seat will remain empty until January. Gallagher, 40, an Iraq veteran, is the chairman of the Select Committee investigating the Chinese Communist Party and serves on the Intelligence Committee. It's highly unusual for a committee chairman to resign in the middle of a term. but this is also critical. But Gallagher, an institutionalist first elected to Congress in 2016, has grown frustrated with his own party. He was one of 3 Republicans who voted against the impeachment of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, which again gives you a clue as to what exactly is kicking him out. It's no secret. It's the extremism, the dysfunction, the stupidity, the bad faith, the dishonesty within the Republican Party. And my God, if you need any evidence of that besides the fact that, Marjorie Taylor Greene is, pulling a Matt Gaetz and beginning to set the wheels in motion to remove Mike Johnson from the speakership. And by the way, Mike Johnson is terrible, so good riddance. I don't care. You need to only look at this recent comment, and when I say recent, I mean today, from Scott Perry, one of Gallagher's co-workers in the House of Representatives. This is how he described provisions of a bill, which also passed today, that would keep the government funded for the next 6 months and avoid a painful government shutdown. This is how Gallagher's fellow Republican, Scott Perry, described the whole thing.
And what is the left, the Democrats, what are they going to run on when they pass this bill? 22,000 border agents, 41,500 detention beds. 22,000 border.
So he's complaining that the Democrats are going to have something to run on by the passing of this bill, right? Which it talks about southern border provisions, right? Which is part of the reason that Republicans scuttled the bipartisan Senate border bill, which, by the way, was very conservative, as I've mentioned in previous videos. And Perry's upset that this bill will give them something on which to run. By them, he means Democrats. Now, I mentioned also that MAGA Republicans outside of Congress are not happy. Charlie Kirk, a prominent MAGA cultist and conservative commentator, said, Mike Gallagher has announced he's resigning his congressional seat effective April 19th. This is calculated. Gallagher could leave now and allow his safe Republican seat to be filled quickly. Instead, he is deliberately leaving on a timeline that will leave it empty until November, leaving the GOP majority even smaller and making a Democrat House takeover a real possibility. Love it. Gallagher is a traitor to his party and to the people who voted for him. What a spiteful, repulsive creature. Cry harder, Charlie. Cry harder, you loser. I delight in the internal fighting in your party because there are still some with genuine conservative values, right, with which I profoundly disagree. But even they're fed up with your MAGA extremism and the MAGA extremism that has infected elected Republicans, and they're being punished accordingly, and I delight in it, and so should you. Jasmine Crockett, a freshman Democratic congresswoman, she posted this. It's so good. She's one of my favorite Democratic congresspeople. She says, we're out of D.C. for 2 weeks. Here's the recap. Democrats led the way in keeping the government open again. We've now, 6 months later, passed all 12 appropriation bills. House Republicans held what sounds like their last damn impeachment hearing. Bobo the clown, Linsky, and talking about Bobo Linsky, grifting buffoon, and after being an annoying, out-of-control witness, I had to do a reset and educate him on how testimony on the Hill works. This is referring to the latest public impeachment hearing of President Biden. Not speaking of votes, Mike Johnson looks to be losing one more vote. Representative Gallagher is out, effective 4/19. The announcement comes on the heels of Marjorie Taylor Greene, the leader of the Lost, filing a motion to vacate the speaker on our way out the door today. Will he have the votes to survive? Could we get a Speaker Hakeem Jeffries and then change the threshold to vacate the chair? What an epic day it would be for America. So, folks, this is so good. And again, Crockett has every right to take a victory lap here. Again, the Republican dysfunction and incompetence, they have no one to blame but themselves. They could get their act together at any time. But they just don't know how to govern, and they suck at it. So the last thing I'll point out here with respect to government dysfunction, George Santos, the disgraced former Republican congressman from New York, whose seat was flipped back to the Democrats. Tom Suozzi, Democratic congressman, replaced Santos after he was expelled from Congress because he was appropriately MAGA. He was a fraud, a liar, and was eventually ousted accordingly. He actually also issued an announcement today. He said, after today's embarrassing showing in the House, I've reflected and decided that I can no longer be a part of the Republican Party. The Republican Party continues to lie and swindle its voter base, which confuses me because that sounds like it's sufficient cause for you, George Santos, a liar and swindler, to stay in the Republican Party. I digress. We'll go on. I, in good conscience, Is that a phrase we can really use for George Santos? I don't know. But I, in good conscience, cannot affiliate myself with a party that stands for nothing and falls for everything. I'm officially suspending my petitioning in New York District 1 to access the ballot as a Republican and will be filing to run as an independent. I will take my ultra MAGA / Trump supporting values to the ballot in November as an independent. I'll see you boys in November. And as was pointed out, Santos is running in a completely different district. If he runs as a MAGA independent, it's possible he'll break off enough Trump supporters to potentially allow Democrats to flip that seat. What a great day for Democrats. What a great day for the United States of America. And again, just there's no telling what may happen here. It may very well be that through sheer attrition, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader in the House of Representatives, may become Speaker Hakeem Jeffries. And boy, would that be good. Let me know what you think in the comments.